Hey guys! So today I have a little bit of a different video for you, and that was because I was just thinking about the phrase love is blind. Now what I'm going to say is really black and white, but I think it was just really interesting to have the thought process without actually taking it a bit more complexly like you probably should. So I think the thing that sort of got to me was the fact that the fact that in the phrase the word is love and not something else, because obviously love can mean a lot of different things, but mainly it can feel like a really strong feeling and quite a genuine feeling. Like, you know, when you think about marriage, you know, or if you think about, like, I think for me especially, like family love, like it's genuinely about compromise and about being able to take someone for who they are and love them and know about their good sides and their bad sides, and therefore I just don't think you can say that love is blind. Like, I just don't think that you can love a person without knowing about them, like as in true love, that is. Obviously there's different kinds of love which are probably more superficial, and therefore, you know, you can probably love someone without knowing them all too well. But I do think it's wrong to say that love is blind, because then it implies that you can only love someone if they're perfect, and therefore it is impossible to love someone if they're imperfect, but everyone's imperfect. So I feel like the whole idea of love without accepting someone's flaws isn't really there, because if you truly love someone, you'll accept and, you know, you'll come to terms with all of them. And I think that sort of does explain why people can fall out of love, because obviously people can change and become more flawed, I guess, and sort of can, you know, people change just in general, and I think that's why you can fall out of love, because you fall out of sync with that person and, you know, you lose that understanding. So I think in general love is about compromise. Like, you know, obviously everyone has awesome things about them which are great in a relationship, whether it's like a friendship, or if you're in, you know, a relationship and, you know, you go through a lot of things together, and therefore, you know, there will always be things that you each do well and you each, you know, enjoy about each other, and there will always be things you'll have to work on. I think the really interesting thing I think I've heard about, and I don't know if I've talked about it here, but it's thinking about how sometimes you need platonic dates, like how you do relationship dating. And I found that concept really interesting, because I think especially with friends we don't necessarily give new people that many chances. And I think that's almost, I don't know how much that's changed over time, but I definitely think that's something that's prevalent nowadays, because obviously, like, we're very good at judging each other on first impressions, which is why profiles and, you know, and profile pictures are so important. But I do like the idea of platonic dating and just making sure that you actually give yourself enough time to actually get to know a person. And, you know, because I think often, especially when we meet new people, we don't necessarily meet them in a context that will allow us to learn more about each other. And I think that's part of the reason why I love the internet, because you can present yourself with your whole range of interests and find people who have similar ones. Whilst if you meet someone offline, then quite often that's already contextualized, that you're already meeting in some sort of context, and therefore trying to learn about someone else's interests offline can be a bit harder, because you're not presenting yourself alongside all of your interests. I think something I wanted to ask you is, have you ever had a squish? Now if you don't know what a squish is, it's basically like a platonic crush, and I think it's really interesting to think about that kind of thing, because I think thinking about it now, I think I have, but I feel like that sort of transforms more into just love I have for friends, because it's almost like love at first sight, sort of like loving someone for, you know, just sort of a more superficial, less complex sort of version of them that you understand so far, and then, you know, the person you grow to understand and therefore have a more genuine relationship with. But yeah, that's a really interesting question for you. Have you ever had a squish? The last thing I wanted to say is I have a little bit of an announcement which is really exciting. The news is my friend Liz and I are starting a new channel together where we'll be writing each other letters every other week, like pen pals over the internet. We hope to have our friends join in the conversation sometimes, but mostly it will be a 30-something mum and her internet daughter discussing life, hoping to find more ways that we are connected, all from the same tree, in spite of all of our differing experiences. And our channel is called Letters from Our Tree, and you can check it out up there. And we will be starting from, I think, the 7th of April, and it will be, as I said, every other week, it will be great to see you there. So, I'd love to hear what you think. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful time doing what you're doing, and I will see you next time. Bye guys.